Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon here in Geneva. Greetings from Geneva and from the Convention Secretariat. Sorry for the delay in starting the session. We had some technicalities to fix before we started the session. And let us first share some announcements for your information. And it relates basically and mostly to the interpretation services. As you know, we have simultaneous interpretation in the 6 languages. Please select your preferred language and mute the original language so that you hear only your preferred language. To do so, just click on the icon for more down in the Zoom window to find the interpretation function. And you can use the chat function to seek support from us if you have any technical issues to the connection. And also for this question and answers session at the last part of the webinar, please just either use the questions box, the chat box, or raise your hand so that we can give you the floor if you prefer that way. We will start the session and we're very excited to have you here today to launch the usual reporting cycle, but also to announce the new online reporting platform that we have been developed in the last months. So we will talk basically about the 2025 reporting cycle, and we will run you first through a few items, which are the usual mandate for the parties to the FCTC and to the protocol to report, what the reporting process entails, the improvement of the reporting system of both treaties and what the last governing bodies decided in relation to that, the reporting cycle itself for the 2025 round, and then a few next steps and resources that you can find online in our website as well. So to start off, as most of you may know, the reporting and exchange information is a mandate covered by both the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control and the Protocol to eliminate illicit trade in tobacco products, respectively under Articles 21 and 32. This is an obligation to report periodically on implementation, and this goes to the Conference of the Parties, to the WHO FCTC, and to the meeting of the parties of the protocol through the Convention Secretariat. Both treaties set the frequency and format reports that is going to be determined by the COP and the MOP, respectively, and is set up every 2 years. And they also set the assistant to parties upon request as a mandate, and we strive to do so. The reporting process usually takes a period of 3 months. So we will launch it on 1st January 2025, and it will last until 31st March 2025. That's the deadline for parties of both treaties to submit the information on the implementation of the treaties, respectively. So you will see in color orange those actions that are to be taken by the parties, and in red those that come from the Convention Secretariat. So if we start on top left, the party will start to collect data and information on national level. This is an internal exercise, and we recommend that this is done beforehand as much as possible. Once the parties are invited to access the online reporting platform, they will complete this new data since the last report, which happened this time around in 2023, and the party will complete the information on the specific questions in the online version of the report. The party will then submit the report to the Convention Secretariat once they agree that this is the final version and the official data to be submitted. The Secretariat will confirm the report submission through an automatic message. If you do not receive so, please let us know. And ideally, once this is verified, the Convention Secretariat would publish the reports online, which is a mandate to the Convention Secretariat that this is all published in implementation databases. If there are any comments or feedback to be sent back to the parties, the Convention Secretariat will review the report, introduce some comments and feedbacks, and send it back to the party appropriately. Then the party will review back the report, review specific comments from the Secretariat, and resubmit a final and reviewed version of the report to the Secretariat. And then again, the Secretariat, once this is agreed and there are no further comments, will publish the report online. All this information will be taken by the Secretariat to do the usual analysis of the data and publish the two main reports. The main report to the COP and the MOP, analyzing the progress in implementation of the treaties, and a more technical and longer report, which is called the Global Progress Report on the implementation of each of the treaties. Which is new for this reporting cycle, as agreed during the two governing body meetings this year in February, is that for the FCTC, we will use the agreement reached with WHO to take the information that WHO gathers also with a periodicity of 2 years to publish their own reports on the tobacco epidemic. And in the case of the protocol, we will use, as was announced, as much as possible external sources to feed into the data that parties provide to the MOP in this case. You will see on the left a dotted line that will feed back, and not for this year round, and I'll explain later, that this process will, or it used to be before, that parties will submit a report and that information can be retrieved in the next cycle. And we will explain that before, that this is not the case for 2025, but we will use that feature in 2027. As you may recall, we were requested to do an improvement on the reporting system of both treaties. The initial request was for the FCTC, and then the Bureau of the Protocol decided to do the same for the protocol reporting instrument. Both governing bodies, back in their meetings in February, adopted a decision by which for the COP specifically adopted the revised reporting instrument of the WHO FCTC, and for the MOP, they welcome the revised reporting instrument of the protocol. And both questionnaires, as adopted and welcome, are included in the annexes of the main documents that are listed there in the website of the main documentation of each governing body. Since then, the Convention Secretariat in the past few months has worked to develop, as requested, a new online reporting platform. We used to use what it was called Dataform, and now we will start using the new platform called FCTC Data. We will get used to that term. And this includes many enhancements that were already identified and requested by the parties of both treaties and also from the Convention Secretariat to improve the assessment of the data, the quality of the data, and also to reduce the duplicity of data collection with other entities such as WHO for the FCTC, and also to reduce the burden on the parties to duplicate information. We cleaned the reporting instruments, reduced duplicated questions, and made it easier for the parties to report and capture the progress on implementing the treaties. We also were requested to do a testing of the new platform, and we did so during the month of October, and we received the kind feedback of a few volunteer parties, which are, those comments are being integrated into the new platform as we speak. For the 2025 cycle, in particular for the FCTC, and this is common for the protocol, the frequency, as I mentioned, is every 2 years. So the last one was submitted in 2023. The parties submitted the reports in 2023. In harmony with the FCTC reporting cycle, it's the same for the protocol. As we mentioned, the deadline will be 31st March 2025. And the reporting instrument for both cases, they are online and in the 6 languages of the UN. New data is expected, so the pre-filled responses, as I mentioned before, will only be made available from 2027 onwards. This is a feature that the platform enables, but as we speak about a new reporting instrument, there are revised questions, new questions. We wanted to start as a baseline. We will not introduce previously reported data. It will be more complicated to capture any changes. So we kindly ask all the parties to complete the full questionnaire, and then for the next round, we will be able to, if the party wishes so, to capture some of the information that is repeated and there's no change, and then capture more the progress towards the next reporting cycles. And this is the aim of the COP and the MOP, to really capture significant changes And for the FCTC particularly, we're also adding some sections where subnational level implementation of legislation can be also captured. For the FCTC particularly, we also integrated those questions that belong to an extra questionnaire, which was called additional questions on the use of implementation guidelines by the parties. And these have been inserted into the core question, as we used to call it. All questions are mandatory for both the FCTC and the protocol. And for the analysis of the reports, just again, very important for us to remind parties that the obligation or the request to report to the WHO will be particularly key from this time onward, as we will gather information on a few of the articles to the FCTC from WHO and will be integrated in analysis for us to report back to the COP in the two type of documents that I just mentioned before. For the protocol, similarly, frequency, deadline will be the same. The features of the reporting instrument, we will capture again progress in implementation of the protocol, particularly from the next to next reporting cycle. And here I wanted to highlight that the quantitative data on scissors of tobacco and nicotine products, for those parties of the CTC that are also parties to the protocol, we will require those parties to the protocol to complete this data only in the reporting instrument of the protocol, and this will be prompted by the platform itself. And those that are only parties to the FCTC will complete that part in the FCTC reporting instruments. And here again, for the analysis of the reports, as I mentioned, we will strive to gather information from external sources that already may have useful information on protocol-related issues such as FAO, UNIDO, and UN Comtrade. So next steps. We're really glad that you are engaging today in this webinar, or watch it afterwards because it's been recorded and we will make it available to all in our respective platforms. Get familiarized with the new reporting instruments for the FCTC or the protocol, and at national level, start the conversation, the gathering of data as much as possible, so that when you receive the automatic message from the system that your party report is active and has been launched, you can start entering the data, and we will provide the details to access it in the demonstration that comes afterwards. And if there is any changes or any updates that we may be beneficial for us to know on the focal points, please let us know as soon as possible, because we will utilize the mailing list that we have and the recorded national focal points to enter those data in the platform, and these will be the people that will be granted access to the reporting platform. Once you gather the information and insert it in this reporting instrument respectively, we expect that the identified focal point or the person nominated to be so in the platform will submit the official version of the party reports at the latest 31st March 2025. Some resources will be made available. We're finalizing a user manual that will always also be available in the 6 languages. Again, the reporting instruments and the versions that will be uploaded in the system have minor changes, but you can already consult the annexes to the documents that are on the screen from the governing body meetings. We will still use the glossary of terms and definitions used by the Convention and the guidelines, and it may be useful to check the indicator compendium. And if at any time you need support, please do not hesitate to contact us through the dedicated email addresses for the FCTC and the protocol on the screen. Of course, we keep on the reporting information, specific web pages. We have restructured the website. You will see it has a new look, so you can find the reporting pages under each of the treaties, the convention and the protocol tabs, and there you have a button for the reporting pages where we will upload the most updating information for the parties. And with this, I finished my introduction, and we kickstart the demonstration, which is a more interactive session on which I will give the floor to my colleague, Mr. Alessandro Esposito, who will run us through the platform on this functionality, how to access it, how to use it, and then we will open the session for questions and answers. So without further ado, please, Alessandro, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Leticia, and welcome everybody. I'm just going to quickly share a presentation that I have. So let me share my screen, and then we'll go right away into the system. So you should be able to see my screen now. And let us begin. So this training session is meant for you, for the parties in the roles of the focal points and data entry users. I'm going to explain exactly what those roles are able to do in a minute. Just for now, as Leticia mentioned before, we implemented a new platform for the data collection. And this platform has improved, at least we hope will improve the reporting experience. Not only this platform has a very easy navigation system, but it's also a collaborative environment where you will be able to also receive feedback from the Secretariat. It has a lot of dynamic questions. So basically questions that will appear or disappear based on your previous answers. And we've been cooperating with cybersecurity team in INT to make sure that all of your data is safely collected and securely transmitted to WHO FCTC and the Convention Secretariat when you so wish. Just a little bit of an overview on the roles and the responsibilities. As mentioned, we have the first role that we could have. It's a data entry role. As the name entails, these persons with these roles will be able to fill in the reporting instrument and then to also comment on the reporting instrument. Then we have a party focal point, which not only will be able to fill in the reporting instrument, but is also the person which will be able to officially submit the data, and also the one who's able to assign new users for data entry. And one last role that the focal point has, which I'm going to show you later, it's access to a special auditing page for on the platform. There is actually a third role, which is the viewer, which, as you can imagine from the name, can only view the data for a party, and so they cannot absolutely enter data. I just wanted to mention that on the Convention Secretariat side, we have a reviewer role. So basically, as soon as you're done filling in the reporting instrument and you officially submit your data, we will receive a notification and we will be able to review the data and leave our comments and either approve or reject the reporting instrument. We're going to share also the link to the website where you will be able to report your official data. So it's the one that you can see on the screen, but don't worry, this will be circulated to you. And just a few quick mention on the structure of this session. We're going to have a fairly quick demo of the tool. Then we're going to share with you the user guides, the background documents in all the languages. And at the end of the demo, we're going to have a Q&A session. So please, if you have any questions, note them down, and we will have a Q&A session at the end. So don't hesitate to raise your hand then. Just wanted to also mention that if you need some help at any point during the reporting period, you can always contact the Convention Secretariat, either at copreporting@who.int for the WHO FCTC, or at mop.reporting@who.int for the protocol. Now, thank you for your attention, and without further ado, let's jump right into the system. So I'm now going to navigate on the FCTC webpage.
Alessandro?
Yes, please.
Sorry to interrupt. Check if your microphone is fine. I don't know if interpretation is hearing all right. It seems so. Just to have a clear sound from your side. Thank you.
Can anybody confirm that my microphone is working, just to make sure? Because Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Seems okay, yes.
Perfect. Good to know. So as I was saying, as soon as you, first, a little bit of a disclaimer. What I'm showing you now, it's not the official environment. This is just a test environment that we have created for the purposes of this demo. But don't worry that everything I'm going to tell you today will also apply to the official environment. So don't worry if you see tests or if you see little imperfections here and there, it's because this is not the official environment. As I was saying, as soon as you log in, you will reach first this home page. From the home page, you can see there is a little menu on the left side, and we are going to explore this later. You can see there is a main section in the center where you will be able to open any reporting instrument you have access to. So here, in this case, I only have access to the WHO FCTC 2025 reporting instrument, but say I also have access to the protocol, you will see it there in a dedicated section. Also in the top right corner, you can see that I can select my language. So in this case, it's English, but you can see that we can change to any other of the 6 languages. And last but not least, your name, the username you will use to log in will appear here. So in this case, I just wanted to point out that I've created a test user called Focal Point for Italy. So as you can imagine, the Focal Point for Italy, it's gonna have access to the party of Italy for the WHO FCTC 2025. So without further ado, let us click on the reporting instrument WHO FCTC 2025. You can either click on this menu or from the left, you get access to the same page. As I do click on the instrument, you can see some properties of the reporting instrument. First of all, just as a confirmation, you can see that the party, in our case, it's Italy for the purposes of this demo. Then you see the status, which is in progress. The status is an important indicator. When the status is in progress, it means that the reporting instrument, it's open for the party to fill in their data. There are other statuses. After we officially submit our data, the status will change to review in progress. When the review is in progress, it means that it's not officially being accepted, our data, but the Convention Secretariat is carefully reviewing your data and will come back to you if they have any questions. Once the Convention Secretariat, together with the party, will make sure that all the data is coherent, then we can approve, so finish this formal review process and close the reporting instrument. So the latest status you can see, it's closed. When the status is closed, no further changes can be made on the data. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we wanted to make this tool as, we wanted to let you work together on this tool and make sure that multiple people do not overwrite each other's work. In order to achieve that, we've implemented a check-in and check-out functionality. So as you can see from my screen, we have different topics for the reporting instrument. So for example, I'm just going to read the first 3. The first one is just some information on the national contacts. Then we have the Article 2 and the Article 5. And you can see that further on the right, we have these checkout options. So checkout, I'm going to just click on the checkout for the Article 2. So let me do that. As I do that, you can see that now the Article 2, under status, you can see that it's in edit by Focal Point Italy Test, our current user. This means it lets every other colleague know that this article, the Article 2 topic, is being worked on by the Focal Point Italy Test. Of course, this may not be applicable in case you are the party has only one person filling in the data, but if there are multiple people filling in the data. This is very useful to make sure that everybody knows who's working on which topic and that people don't override each other's. Now, let me check it back in because I want to show you a very nice quality of life feature. Say the focal point Italy, our current user, is the only user that's going to fill in the whole reporting instrument. What they can do, as you can see from the upper side on actions, there is a checkout all button. As you can imagine, if we click on this button, and I'm going to do it, all of the topics will be checked out at once so that you don't need to click, click, click. Once we have a topic checked out, it means that we can actually edit it. So just to show you, let me check in the first topic, the information on the national contents. So I'm going to check in this topic. So as you can see from here, at this moment, I have checked out all of the topics except the very first one. How do we enter data? After we checked out the topics we want to enter data for, we just click on this little edit button at the top here. Once we click on edit, we're going to navigate towards the actual reporting instrument. As you can see, we have landed on the first topic, the information on the national contacts. And as you can see, this topic has a little lock icon. If we move the mouse over the lock, it's also going to tell us that to edit, you need to check it out first. So as I mentioned before, if you don't check out the topic, you cannot edit any data on the topic per se. On the other hand, as you can see from Article 2, I'm going to click on it. As you can see, there is no lock. If I move my mouse over it, it's going to say that it's checked out by me. And as you can see, I'm free to change the data and edit the data as I like. Now, I mentioned before that it's a dynamic system. We don't want you to report data. We want to simplify your life. So, for example, we have some questions that, depending on your answer, are going to hide or show some further follow-ups. As you might have noticed on the screen, if you answer no on this first question, then you don't need to answer any other question. But if your answer is yes, then some further follow-up questions are going to appear. We have many different question types. So, for example, here you see we had two options, yes and no. Here, we're asking you to provide some details, and we can enter any text we want. If we go further down, we have, for example, a file upload, where here, if we go on the right, you can see this little icon, and if we click on it, it's going to allow us to upload files to this question. So as you can see, we have different options and different kind of questions and ways for you to reply to them. I'm just going to go move to Article 5, which is another topic that we've previously checked out, to show you yet another kind of question. As you can see from this question, what is the status of your current national tobacco control plan or strategy? You can see that here, it's even different. You have a drop-down menu with different options for you to choose from. It's only 6 options, so in this case, it may be not applicable, but if you want, you can also search for the one you're looking for. For example, I'm going to search for there is, and as you can see, as I type, it's going to filter out the answers that I'm looking for. And I just click on it, and there we go. We also wanted to make sure that no data loss, or at least the minimum data loss, happens in case you lose your internet connection or electricity. So let me ask you to focus on this area at the top of the screen. You can see that now it says all changes are saved. Every second, there is a little routine that is checking if new data has been put in. So for example, let me change this yes for a no. You can see that almost instantly it said auto-saving and then all changes are saved. I'm going to do it yet again. I'm going to change this no for a yes again. So you can see that very quickly you get an auto saving and then all changes are saved. So this means that you can be sure that if you're working on the tool, if you're working on the reporting instrument, even if you lose connection, even if you lose the electricity, whatever happens, you lose at most 1 second of information. So this should guarantee that no work is lost. I've shown you, so I just want to mention very quickly that this is really it. So as you can see, we try to make it as easy as possible for you to report the data. And this is actually it for the way you will be able to report the data. But I just want to show you yet another feature, which we think it's really neat and allows you to interact with the Convention Secretariat directly from the tool. I'm sure you must have noticed, excuse me, that there is this comment here. You can see that there are no comments currently, and there is actually the possibility to comment for each question. So I'm just gonna go and open one. I'm gonna click on no comments here. And as you can see, it says that there are no comments now, but you can also enter a comment yourself. The comment is a way for you to interact with the Convention Secretariat or within yourself if you wish so. Another neat feature of the comment is that you can write in any language you want. So for example, here I could say, can you help me understand better, etc., etc. So let me write my comment and let me click on add. Once I do so, you can see that this is currently our user, so this will be your username, your name and surname. It's going to record the date, the time, and it's going to record the comment you've made. If you move further to the right, you can see that we have 3 options here. The pencil allows us to edit the comment. So if we click on the pencil, I can go and change it for something else. So let me just change to an exclamation mark. We can also delete the comment. Say we get an answer or say the comment no longer applies, we can click on delete and the comment will disappear. But the last option we have, it's this little icon here, the translate icon. If we click on it, it allows us to translate the comment in any of the 6 languages. This allows us to interact with the Convention Secretariat in whichever language we want. And also please note that while we can translate in those 6 languages, you can write your comment even in another unsupported language. So potentially, I could write a comment in Italian, and then we can translate the comment in Italian to any of the 6 official languages. So that's really it for the reporting instrument. So we can go back here. You can go back using this little arrow on the top left, very similar to what you do in your browser. And as we do that, we're brought back to the reporting instrument properties page. Now, as a focal point, I'm sure you have noticed that in the top right corner, we have the submit button. This is what we've been discussing about, what Letitia mentioned and what I mentioned before. When you click on this button, you will say that your data is ready, you've reviewed it, and you want to officially submit your data to the Convention Secretariat. Please note that any data you put in the system, we will not use it unless you officially submit it. So we will not use any of your data unless you officially submit it. This allows you to, for example, write draft data that you still need to confirm, because even though you've written some data in the reporting instrument, we will not use it again for the last time unless you click on submit. Now, if I were to click submit now, the system is going to ask me for confirmation. I'm going to show you that now, even if I click yes, it's not going to let me submit the data. So I'm going to click on yes. And you can see that we get a little error over here. It says, please check in all the topics. As you can see, All those topics are still in edit by, well, in this case, it's me, but it could even be your colleague if it's more than one person working on it. This is to make sure that your colleague or yourself are done inputting the data before we officially submit. Let me check in all. So in order for us to resolve this issue, which I'm going to just close, we can check in all the topics at once using this button. When we click it, it's going to ask me if I'm sure. I'm just going to say yes. So now all the topics have been checked in, as you can see from the screen. This means that when I click on submit, and then I'm going to click on yes, it's going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to tell me that for the part of Italy, the status will change to review in progress. I just want to mention that now, even though it was, so as you can see, it's under review, here the status. I just want to mention that even though it didn't take a lot of time, I just want to mention that this is a test environment and the speed is going to be much, much, much faster on the actual environment that you're going to use. So it's going to be even faster than that. Now, since the status is under review, I'm just going to quickly show you that on the Convention Secretariat side, so I'm just going to switch and I'm going to impersonate a reviewer for Italy. As I do that, you can see that I can see that the reporting instrument for Italy has been submitted and it's under review. And as I mentioned, we can either reject or approve. It's a good time now to show you the aggregated view. When we click on aggregated view, we can see all of the topics at once with any comments. So as you noticed, I click on Article 2 and I can see that there is a comment from the party. I can open it. Can you help me understand better? So as I said, I can translate it in case I don't speak English, I can have it, or I prefer to have it in another language. I can click and have it translated. And then I can answer to the comment. Again, I can answer in any language I prefer because we will be able to translate it later. So I can say, of course, and here is the explanation, etc., etc. So I can click on add. Once I do that, you can see that there is a comment from the reviewer of Italy. So the reviewer has replied to your query. So you can see that this instrument, it's really, really useful to ask for specific questions directly in the tool. It's worth mentioning that all the comments that we put here are not going to represent the data. So what it's going to be data, it's only your yes. The comment is recorded here, but it's not saved anywhere else. Now, let me go back and let me reject. So as a reviewer, I'm going to reject. This, of course, does not really interest you because you are on the party side. So let me go and switch back to the focal point for Italy. The focal point for Italy, after the reviewer, the Convention Secretariat, has rejected the reporting instrument, will receive a notification via email saying that the form has been rejected and there are some questions. Again, when we are a focal point, we can again click on aggregated view. And if we go to the topic 2, we can see that there is a comment. Again, we can open it. We can see that the reviewer has replied and with an explanation, and then we can go and change this answer. So say, for example, after the reviewer has given us an explanation, we want to change this yes for a no. As you can imagine, what we need to do is we check out the topic. In this case, it was Article 2. We go on edit again. We go on Article 2, and we change our yes for a no. All changes are saved, and we can go back. And we can also, if we want, submit our data officially again. Let us now check just the other buttons that we have at the top. We have the View button. Now, the View button should be quite self-explanatory, but if we click it, you can see that we can view the data that we have reported in the reporting instrument without being able to edit the data. We also have some nice features, which are the export to PDF and the ability to work in Excel. So the export in PDF, when you click it, it's going to generate a PDF file with all of the topics, all of the questions, and all of your current answers. So I'm going to cheat a bit because I already downloaded it before. And as you can see, this is how it's going to look like for the FCTC. So you will have the status of the form and when it was exported, the PDF, and you're going to have all of your topics and all of the questions exported in PDF. I just want to point out that the answers that you've given will be in blue. So in this case, all the part in black, it's the question, so it's the topic and it's the question, and then in blue, you will have your answers. Another very interesting feature is the export in Excel. So while we do not encourage you to use the Excel version of the reporting instrument because it lacks some of the features, for example, it lacks the dynamicity that will hide or show some questions based on your answers, we also know that maybe sometimes you may be in areas where internet connection is not stable or you're commuting and you still want to work on the reporting instrument. So you can export the Excel file by clicking the Export Excel. Again, I already downloaded it before, and I'm going to show you how that looks like. As you can see, each of the topics that we had in the reporting instrument online will be a worksheet on the Excel file. So we have the information on the national, we have the Article 2, Article 5, etc., etc. And there's also, can you also notice, let me navigate to Article 2, we answered no, and here we have the answer that we've given. So of course, when you export the Excel file, it's going to also export all of your current answers. And we can go here and change them. For example, here it was a yes or no, and if we open the menu, you can see that we can change it. Here it's please provide details, so we could write any comment. So I'm just going to write some random text here. Once we do all that, so we put the data in the Excel file, we can save the Excel file. And once we have our internet connection again, say we arrived home, we arrive at the office, or now internet is more stable, we can go back to our reporting instrument and we have this other option here to import the Excel file. Now, some things that are worth mentioning is that when you import the Excel file, of course, we want to avoid that you import all of the topics at once, because maybe your colleague, if applicable, was working on, say, Article 5, as you downloaded the Excel and worked on Article 2. So even when you import the Excel, you can choose which topics to import from that Excel. So say, for example, I've exported the Excel and I was working on Article 2 and 5. I'm going to check out the Article 2 and I'm going to check out the Article 5. I work on my Excel. When I click on Import Excel, you can see that I can choose between the topics that I had checked out, which ones I want to import from my Excel file. So for example, I could even decide to only import Article 2 and not Article 5. I can then select the file. So again, we click on this button here and we can select the file. I'm not going to do that. But if you click on save, then all your data will go from the Excel file to the online reporting instrument. Let me go now back to the home page. Now that you have an overview of the reporting instrument per se, let me very quickly explain also some other features that we have for you. So as I mentioned, you are probably going to be the focal point for your party. But say you have some colleagues that are also supposed to work on the reporting instrument per se. If you so wish, you can click on the new user tickets. So you can see on the left menu, under admin, you have the new user ticket. As you can imagine, this is where you can ask the Convention Secretariat to add a new user for you. What you're seeing now is the list of the tickets that we've opened in the past. So some of the tests, some of them are from this morning training session. You can create a new ticket by clicking on New over here at the top. It's going to ask you for your colleague's name. So I'm just going to put mine again and surname. I'm going to use my surname and just add a 2 because they already exist. It's going to ask you for an email address. I'm just going to put an existing one. And then it's going to ask you for which party you want the user to be created. In our case, we are the focal point for Italy, so we can only select Italy. It's going to ask you for the role that we want the person to have, and we can choose between focal point, data entry, or just viewer. A quick disclaimer, we're going to have those codes changed for the actual name. So what you're seeing now, it's the code, but instead of the, you will see data entry, etc., etc. So say we want this person to be a data entry, we can select data entry. And the last one, it's for which of the reporting instrument we want the person to be able to access. In our case, I can only grant him access to the FCTC, don't mind the FCTC test. But if I also had access to the protocol, I could also grant this person access to the protocol. So as you can see, you can select more than one. So imagine this could be FCTC and protocol. Once I click on save, the Convention Secretariat is going to receive a notification that we have asked for a new user to be created. And on our end, on the Convention Secretariat end, we can either accept or reject. Most likely, of course, we're going to accept. We're not going to challenge your decision. But if we reject, it may be because of a wrong username, like an email address or something that's not adding up. So if in case we will reject, we will surely also follow up with you. Say now we had this user, so Alessandro, created. If we want to, for some reason, delete this user, say maybe our colleague quit his job, we can go under this other menu. So here on the left, again, you have workflow and you have party. If you open party, you can see that for your party, in this case, I can see Italy, the viewers, the focal points, and the data entry. If I click on this little icon over here, the view, as you can see, Alessandro is now a data entry. But as a focal point, I can at any point click on these assign data entries and get rid of him. So say my colleague has quit his job, I don't want him to be able to access anymore. I can delete him from the list and click on save. If for some reason we want to add him back, of course, we can also add him back. If we need to add him back, we do not need to create a new user ticket again, because the user already exists in the application. So what we can do is we can click on assign data entry and just add him from here. As I click on save, you will see that Alessandro is going to be listed as a data entry for the party of Italy. One last item for today, and it's the audit. As I mentioned during the slides, as a focal point, if you click on the audit, you will be able to see all of the actions that have been performed on your reporting instrument. So for example, let's see this one. You can see that the 16th of December, so today, at 3 o'clock and be mindful this is UTC, this user, so myself in this case, has checked out a form for Italy. This user has checked out the Article 5 general obligation. So as you can see, anytime we perform an action, we can see exactly who has done it and when. As a focal point, this could be useful into understanding if a topic has been checked out, checked in, and by whom and when. Let me go back to the home screen because I've been talking quite a while, but just to reassure you that the process is actually really, really simple. So I'm just going to show you one last time a very quick recap. We land on the home page. We open the reporting instrument. We open our country. We decide which topics we want to work on. Article 2, Article 5, and let's say also Article 6. We check out those topics. We click on Edit, and we put our data in. As we do that, it's gonna autosave, so we don't need to do anything. We put our data, and as we're done, as soon as it's saved, we can either close, or if we've completed the questionnaire, we can go back, we can check in on the topics, and we click on Submit. And this is really it. So as you can see, I've been talking for a while because I wanted to really explain in deep dive, but hopefully it should not be too complicated. Of course, if you have any questions or you need any help, you have any technical problems accessing, or even if you have any feedback, you can always reach out to us in the emails that I shown before in this slide. Now I'm going to give the floor back to the room, and we can also open the floor for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alessandro. And now we check the chat or any hands raised for any questions that may be posed from the participants. Unless everything is super clear, there's no questions. And again, I know this is very new for everyone in the room now. So we stand ready at any time when you start using the platform, when you start entering the data. If you encounter any issues, we're always ready to support you, respond to any questions, and try to have a smoother reporting experience in 2025. And I see no questions. So for now, I think we can close the session. Excellent. Again, this session will be uploaded into our platforms. You can check it out anytime. And we remain at your disposal through the emails that were shown during the session. And thank you, everyone, and happy reporting cycle in 2025. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye. Thank you, interpretation.